Today we are going to continue converting, but this one it's a little more difficult, but not much, because this time you have 4 gallons and 14 ounces, and they want to know how many total ounces would be in that. Well, the first thing that you need to worry about is converting the 4 gallons over to ounces. Okay, so you make a conversion chain. If your conversion chain starts out with gallons, what has to go down here? Gallons. What do you know about gallons? You need to make sure you have this little booklet thing out. 1 gallon equals 4 quarts. Okay, now, if quarts is now the numerator, what needs to be the next denominator? Quarts. What do you know about quarts? 1 quart is 2 pints. Turn around and pay attention. Okay, so what needs to be the next denominator? Pints. What do you know about pints? 1 pint is 2 cups. And now cups needs to be the next denominator. What do you know about it? 1 cup is 8 ounces. Now that we've made it to ounces in our chain, we can stop because that's what we were trying to make it to. So now I can go through and cancel out the gallons and gallons, quarts, quarts, pints, pints, cups, cups, leaving just ounces, which is what we were trying to get to. In the top, the numerators, I see that I have a 4 times 4 times 2 times 2 times 8. When you multiply all of those numbers together, what do you get? 512. Now, in the denominators, you have a 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1, so no need to write it. Okay, now keep in mind that this 512 is for this 4 gallons, right? So if you have 512 ounces right there and then 14 more, how many total ounces do you have? 526 ounces, correct. All right, 2A. 2A, we're converting 19,853 pounds to tons. Someone do the chain. Okay, so I start off with 19,853 pounds. Okay, so what needs to be my next denominator? Pounds. What do you know about pounds to tons? 1. I'm about to send your mom an email and tell her to watch this video so she can hear me getting on to you. Okay? Alright, so what do you know about pounds to tons? 2,000 pounds is 1 ton. Now, tons is what we were trying to make it to, and we have. So now we can cancel out pounds with pounds. So in the numerators, I have a 19,853 times 1 ton. That's just 19,853 tons. But in the denominator, I have 2,000 still. So what do you think I need to do with those numbers? Okay, when you divide them, what do you get? 9 point what? No. Y'all actually type it in. 9.92. Well, wasn't it 9265 though? So if we're going to round it to the hundreds place, that 2 has to jump to a 3 because the next number was 5 or greater. Alright, so that means we have at least 9 full tons, right? Okay, well, stop and think about this for a second. We started out with 19,853 pounds, correct? Of that, we know 9 tons is in that. Well, if 1 ton is 2,000 pounds, how many pounds is 9 tons? 18,000. Because think about it, wouldn't you just do 9 times 2,000 and that lets you know that 9 tons is 18,000 pounds? What could you now do to figure out how many pounds are left? Subtract those 2 values, and what do you have left? Right, and think about it, guys. How much is 1 ton? 2,000 pounds. Isn't that number very close to 2,000? Well, which makes sense, because weren't you very shy of 10 here? Okay? Alright, now I want to give you a couple of minutes to try 3A and 4A by yourself. Please do not just sit there and wait for us to do it together. Even if you get it wrong, you will learn more by just trying than sitting there. So everybody try 3A and 4A, and then we'll go over it. 3A. Next, we need to convert this 106 feet into yards. So we start out our chain with 106 feet. That means the next denominator needs to be in. What do you know about feet to yards? 3 feet and 1 yard. Okay, so now we've made it to yards, which is where we wanted to, so we're ready to cancel out the feet. In the top, we have 106 times 1, so 106 yards. But on the bottom, we have 3, so we have to divide it out, and what do you get? 35.333 whatever. So basically, that's 35 full yards and a third of a yard left over. Now, some of you will be able to just think, oh, a third of a yard is 1, because a third of 3 is 1. If you can't do it like that, do it like the other ones we've been doing. If 1 yard is 3 feet, how many feet are in 35 yards? How would you figure that out? What would you multiply? Okay, if 1 yard is 3 feet, how can you easily find out how many feet is 35 yards? Okay, and that's what? Calculator. 100 and? Right. Well, so that 35 yards makes up 105 feet. Well, we started with 106. Doesn't that mean there's 1 foot left over? Okay, 4A, 50 ounces to cup. So we start out with 50 ounces. Okay, and we're trying to make it to cups. What do you know about those two?
8 ounces of 1 cup.
Right, with this chain didn't have to be very long. So we cancel out ounces with ounces, and that leaves us with 50 times 1C, so 50 cups, but over 8. So we got to divide it. What's 50 divided by 8? So we have 6 full cups and then a quarter cup left over. To find out what that quarter is in ounces, what's 6 cups in ounces? How would you figure that out? 6 times 8 is 48. So from 50, how many ounces were left over? 2. Okay, now try 1B and 2B by yourself. All right, 28 cups to pints. So we start with 28 cups. That means our denominator needs to be in cups. Do we know something that goes straight from cups to pints? Right. So our conversion chain is done because we've already made it where we want to make it to. So we can cross out cups with cups, and we end up with whatever way. And that becomes, okay, cents is a whole number. That means it's exactly 14 pints with no leftovers, so 0 cups. If you end up with a whole number, that means there were none left over. Okay, 2B. We are going to convert 44,743 feet into miles. Okay, so our denominator needs to be in feet. What do you know about feet to miles? Right? So we can cancel out this with this. And so your numerator is just 44,743. And that's in miles. Your denominator is 5,280. When you divide that, what do you get? Okay, so nearly 8.5 miles, right? But for sure 8 full miles. Okay, so now, if you know that 1 mile is this many feet, how could you figure out how many feet are in 8 miles? Multiply. Okay, so keep in mind, this is what we started with in feet. How many of those feet are sitting in these 8 miles? Right, and so when you subtract those, it'll let you know you have how many feet left over. Okay, now, doesn't that number look to be close to half of a mile? Which makes sense, because we were almost to 0.5. Okay, go ahead and try 3B and 4B. No, I just turned it on. 4 cups and 1 ounce is how many total ounces? Well, first of all, you have to transfer this 4 cups into ounces. So, what do we know about cups?
1 cup is 8 ounces.
1 cup is 8 ounces, right? So we're ready to cancel out and simplify. We have 32 ounces over 1, which is just 32. But is that the final answer?
No.
What is the final answer?
33.
Right, you can't forget about that extra 1 ounce that you add to it. Okay, that one was pretty easy. Number 4B is a little more difficult. You're going to want to pay attention. Okay, pay attention. Here we go. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to convert 224 ounces to gallons. Okay, just turn around. This one, you need to pay attention. What do we know about ounces?
8 ounces.
Right, 8 ounces is 1 cup. So now we need to move to cups. What do we know about cups? 2 cups is 1 pint. Now we need to move to pints. What do you know about pints? 2 pints is 1 quart. And then we move to quarts. What do you know about quarts? 4 quarts in a gallon. Okay, so now we're going to figure out how many gallons 224 ounces will make. So, cross out all of these. So, in the numerator, we just have 224 and then 4 ones, which is 224. In the denominator, we have 8 times 2 times 2 times 4, which is 128. And that becomes what? So basically, don't we have 1 full gallon and then 3/4 of a gallon? Okay, so we have 1 full gallon. Okay, now, how many ounces is that 1 full gallon? 128 ounces is a gallon. So think about it. If you started off with this many ounces, you know that this 1 gallon is 128 of those ounces. So how many ounces do we still have left? 96. But that's ounces. Don't we now need to convert that to quarts? So we're going to do another conversion chain. 96 ounces to quarts. So we start off with ounces. What do we know about ounces? 8 ounces in 1 cup. Then what do we know about cups? Okay, and then what do we know about pints? Okay, so now we've made it to quarts, which is where we were trying to make it. So cancel, 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 cancel. What's left in the numerator? What's left in the denominator? And what does that become? And it's a whole number. So that means there's exactly 3 quarts and nothing else left, so 0 ounces. Had there been a point something, you would have had to have taken that and done another conversion chain to figure out the ounces. Okay, now we're going to move on to something different, so turn to page 8. It's easier, I promise. Yes, it's easier. It got skipped. Alright, page 8, we're going to be using this. So for that reason, I'm going to do the problems directly on this slide so that you can see how to use it. But you're going to be writing the answers on your paper. 1A. 1A wants us to convert 1,401 milliliters into liters. Okay. When you have a number like 1,401, where's the decimal point in that number? At the end. Isn't that a whole number? So the decimal point is down here at the end. You will get it confused with the commas if you don't learn to just ignore the commas. Okay? Ignore them. Pretend like they're not there. The decimal point is what matters, and it's at the end because this is a whole number. To get from milliliters to liters, milli is right here, liters is right here, correct? So that means to get there we have to travel 1, 2, 3 units to the left. So if I take this decimal point and move it 1, 2, 3 to the left, it'll end up right here, and the answer will be 1.401 liters. Okay, so let's try 2A. 2A is 58.6 centimeters, and you want to convert it to millimeters. Okay, so for this one, there's no question about where the decimal point is. I mean, it's obvious. It's right there. But we're trying to make it from centimeters to millimeters. Well, here's centi. Here's milli. Don't you just have to travel 1 unit to the right? So if I move that to the right, it's at the end now, which right makes the whole number 586. Okay, 3A. 3A is 1,716 milliliters. And I'm just ignoring the commas, so where is the decimal? it's a whole number. So if I'm going from milli to liters, which is your base, that's 1, 2, 3 to the left. So if I take this 3 to the left, where does it end up? Right. Now I'm going to do 2 more. I'm going to do 4a, and then I'm going to do 7a. 4a, we have 1,305. Okay, 4a, you have 1,305 meters, so you'll be starting out in the middle at meters. And then you're moving to kilometers. Okay, where's the decimal point currently with this number? At the end, right? So from meters to kilometers means you move here over here. So that's 1, 2, 3 to the left. So if I move it 1, 2, 3 to the left, it ends up 1.305. Now, eventually you can round these. Like you could put 1.31 or just 1.3. But for now, just write it out like it is. Okay, now one more, 7a. And then you're going to be doing the rest by yourself. But pay attention to this one. It's a little bit different. 18.4 kilometers is how many meters? Okay, well we see that the decimal point is right here between the 8 and the 4. If I'm moving from kilometers to meters, I start here and I move 1, 2, 3 to the right. Well, if I do that, 1, 2, 3, correct. I have to add in zeros right there and I end up with 18,400. Does that make sense? Okay, now I want you to work the rest of these, and in a few minutes I'm just going to call on you randomly to give me the answer. So make sure you get them all done.